How's everybody doing? This is Brian, the old Piedmont gardener, back with you again. We're trying to make a little more progress on the root cellar. And so we went and got some more material, and so we have began to fill the walls. Now, I told you guys earlier, put that saw down a minute. I told you earlier, the root cellar's down here behind the house. It's not accessible, so I'm having to fill the walls by hand. So I'm using my little mixer and my little tractor, and we're gonna do the best we can. It's gonna take longer, but it would be nice to be able to get a pump truck down here, but that ain't gonna happen. So let's go down here and take a look at what we've been working on. Here we go. You can see that we're starting to put some, they call it grout. Basically all it is, you're mixing up the gravel with even if you ordered the gravel, you would want to use gravel or cement, excuse me. You'd want to use cement that has pea gravel in it, so that it if you ordered it from on the truck, I think they call it flowable fill, but I'm just using Cycrete, which it already has the pea gravel in it, so that lets it go down in the blocks. But all we're doing is filling the cells up with concrete. We're back inside now. So you can see I've got a piece of rebar here and here and here, and we're coming on around. I've made this box, so it sets. It's just sets on top, and that allows me to take my tractor and dump the concrete in the box, and it'll fill 2 or 3 cells at a time, and that way you can do it with one person, as I don't have any help today. So you see these marks on the wall? About every 3 cells I've got a mark on the wall. What that is that's where I've got rebar coming out of the footing, and I've got it stuck up 3 or 4 blocks coming up out of the footing all the way around this. So once I fill the cell with concrete, then I'll work me another piece of rebar down all the way to the footing, and those 2 pieces of rebar overlap, and when everything sets up, then it gives it quite a bit of strength. Plus the concrete gives it some strength too, but the rebar gives it really the strength. Concrete gives it compressive strength, and I don't know exactly, but I think it's the linear strength, you know, from fighting the push, trying to prevent cracking in the wall as you backfill. You're going to gain that from the rebar. So here's my mixer. Let me show you how this thing works. Of course, you know me. When I went up there to the store to get concrete, I thought, well, let's get the 80-pound bags. I should have got a 60. And we can make them work, but these 80-pound bags are, well, let's just put it this way, I won't have to go to the gym this evening. Yeah. So I just take my trowel and split that up. Throw that bag in the mix. Whew. And we're gonna get some dust. I know I got you guys a little bit crooked here. I wish I could straighten you up, but I really can't. Not a lot of good places down here to set the camera up. I've got stuff laying everywhere. But you get the idea. So sort of what I do with the concrete I put some water in there. I had a little bit of water before I put that bag in. Then I put some more water in. That helps it mix better, and you don't have dry spots that way. This mixer, like I told you, this is something that I've cobbled together, for lack of a better word, and it does pretty good. It beats a hoe anyway. Get us another bag. I'm new to this concrete work, masonry work in general. So, y'all go down there in the comments and leave some pointers and tell me what all I'm doing wrong. Put a little water in there. A little more. If you do that while you're mixing, you put a little water in there and then spread a little on top. When I start this thing up, there's going to be a cloud of dust, but putting a little bit of water there at the end, that'll help. As it mixes, I'll add water till I get to the consistency that I want. There she goes. Let's watch her run just a minute. Let me get you guys down here. I apologize for all the herky-jerky, but trying to film all this myself. Alright, we got our mixer running. You can see in that barrel, I welded in a couple blades, and we're going to add water until we see it start laying down in the bottom. Once it gets enough water in it, I'll start hitting the back of the drum. Alright, now see it's laying down. It's got good and soupy. Now, that consistency is, well, that's a lot thinner than pouring concrete. So, I mean, if we was pouring a pad or something, you wouldn't want it that thin. The only reason I've got it that thin is because I'm pouring it in this wall. So, at any rate, little old mixture works pretty good. If you're interested in how I made this thing, hey, add a comment down there at the bottom and I'll try to go through, and we might talk about this mixer one day. Do that when we got more time. That's all it takes, just that quick. All right, let's look at our box. All right, there I am. Okay, so we got this box here that I showed you earlier, and the way this thing works, I've got it. I'm gonna turn it that way so you can see it. See, these two boards are a little higher, and it lets these wide boards go along the edge here, and that sort of holds it in place. Now, it works real good running along the wall. I can set it down there. See, that's solid right there. It sort of rides over top of those cinder blocks, and that works great. I can dump my mud in here. If it gets too full, it won't pour off and waste it and make a mess. And I can just scoop it out with a trowel and put it in the next cell. But the thing I really like about it is I can dump it out of that mixer with the tractor, and you know, I'm not shoveling it in there with a shovel, or I've seen people, if you ain't got something like this, you ain't got a tractor, you lift it up, you can use 5-gallon buckets. And but anyway, this is the way I'm doing it. Y'all might have a better idea, but that's what I'm doing. But I've got to modify my box, because when I got to the corner here, I realized that my box is crooked. So I'm going to cut a notch, an 8-inch notch, out on this side, so that this thing will sit down and square up, so that we can pour that corner. And as long as I go in the same direction, that notch will be sufficient all the way around the wall. If I was to change directions, I'd have to have a notch on the other side. So anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's get this box modified. Then we go plunge to it. Hopefully that'll sit down on there and work the way it's supposed to. So there you see it. See if I can zoom you in a minute. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to work. It's definitely within the tolerances of what I'm trying to do. So let's see if we can get some concrete in it. It's going to be a little shaky here. So what I'm going to do, I'm lifting it up, see? I know it's sort of hard to see, the bucket's in the way, but I've got to guide it in there. Now, as you guys can see, on this bottom side, that's as high as my little old tractor will lift it. So, I made this apparatus. You could use a hoe or whatever. But we're going to use this a little different. If we, the idea is gonna work just fine. Beef's toting it up here with a 5-gallon bucket. You can see I ain't lined up perfect. I'm missing a little bit here on the side. Let me grab something. Right. Move that up. Let it right back. And you're going to spill some. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. That's going in there. Like I said, it's easier than taking it, loading it in 5-gallon buckets and carrying it up this ladder and pouring it in. See with this box, if I can get it in the box, I don't have to worry about it going down the cells of the block, because it ain't got nowhere else to go. What didn't get exactly on top. seal up. Y'all have to forgive me. I'm gonna do this and hold this camera. I don't have a tripod that'll sit on top of this block wall, but anyway, so that's what I'm doing. And we're gonna fill up all these seals. We got a bunch of them all the way around, all the way around back to here where I stopped last time. So we'll be filling them up, and we'll poke our rebar down in there, and maybe in the next video we'll work on whatever. I think we're going. Well, we might be. I ain't sure. We might be working on this header. Of course, we got to do this header before we lay the top, the bond. It goes all the way around the top. Anyway, I appreciate you hanging out with us today, and I hope that something I'm doing as well, as inexperienced as I am in this sort of thing, hopefully somebody can pick up something that helps them. So, until next time, this is Brian, the old Piedmont Gardener. Y'all have a good day.